Chapter 23, Battle Your Nerves.
Welcome back, School of Golf. This is Battle Your Nerves. I am delighted to be joined by my longtime friend, Dr. Rick Jensen, a world-renowned performance coach, world-renowned. His clients have won 33 combined majors. So here's a man who's definitely qualified to talk about nerves. Now, Rick, you've spent your lifetime doing this. You're a PhD. Where do nerves come from? Why do people get nervous?
I think in its simplest form, you can just break it down to two terms, either threat or opportunity. And if a golfer approaches the game of golf through the lens of threat, I'm scared I'm going to three-putt, I'm scared I'm going to hit a ball out of play, I don't have enough balls in my bag, their brain interprets that as the environment's threatening, and as a result goes into a fight or flight response. It gets nervous as a natural state of interpreting it as a threat. If we can instead approach the game of golf through a lens of opportunity, I'm just trying to hit great shots, trying to take advantage of the opportunities that exist, we can kind of short circuit the nerves in advance. And it's all about perception, managing our perceptions around the game.
You know, I well remember the very first time I saw you speak, and actually you had these little beauties, these little marbles, so that's why I wanted to get you on this show. Talk about managing expectations, talk about the bell curve. I think we've got a graphic on the bell curve. What is a bell curve for those of us that don't know? Yeah,
if you remember back to high school days, we talked about a normal bell curve, but in golf terms, if you think about it, if I had you hit 100 golf shots, they would distribute evenly across. You'd hit a certain number of great shots, you'd hit a certain number of poor shots, and the bulk of your shots would be average. And this is true for you, me, a tour pro. The difference.
So even, I mean, we've got the Ryder Cup coming up. I mean, great play. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. So even the best players in the world will hit some great, some average, and some poor.
Can't prevent it. It's a law of statistical averages. The only difference between us and a tour player's curve sits further over here.
So
they have trained and moved their curve.
Tell me with regard to that, that's the bell curve. How do these marbles make sense to golfers at home? Bring this to a sort of a practical level. What colour marbles have we got in there, and why? Well, and what are we going to do with them?
Let's take the academics off the board and put it into the jar. Let's call this jar my brain.
Okay.
And now all of a sudden I have a certain number of poor shots. These are the yellow marbles. So I have 100 shots in this jar. 50 are white, average. 50 are yellow, which are poor, and 50 are black, which are great. The reality is when I get to the golf course, it's not so organized as it is in an academic chart. This in our brain is quite disturbing. So now when I get to the first hole, my brain wants to hit this great shot. But the reality is I could hit any of these. So as I sit up to hit this shot, I'm processing, trying to hit a great, and the reality is my brain produces this shot.
Which is? Is
poor.
Yeah.
And so our brain is thinking we can control it by just, we've heard sports psychologists say, try to think of something positive. That doesn't, we want to think positive, but we have to be real. We have to recognize the randomness of the game, because this drive now may be in the trees on my first hole. If I interpret that drive as something's wrong, I did something incorrect, my brain goes into a period of threat, and now nervousness starts. If instead I say, this is expected, just as these, they're just going to be random throughout the round, I can short circuit the nervous reaction.
So people shouldn't expect this, not Henrik Stenson, not Phil Mickelson, not any of the Ryder Cup players. They shouldn't expect that. So let's go over there and let's talk about a method to actually battle the nerves. I've actually got the 7th hole loaded up at Hazeltine. It used to be the 16th, but they're going to be playing this one in the Ryder Cup. I'm not sure what I'm going to hit, so I'm taking 3 clubs over here. I'm taking a driver, a 3-wood, and a hybrid. It's a fairly daunting shot for me, and I know you have something that will help the viewers here. So here we are. It's a shortish par 4. You simply have to get it on the fairway to have the short iron, and I've got my 3 clubs. Help me make a decision, because if I was playing this would have my attention.
What I'd want you to do when you walk up here is a 3-step process. The first step would be evaluate the threat. It would be simply to go, if I were to hit a great shot, yes, it might go right down the middle of this fairway. If I hit my average shot, there's a little range of error. I might hit one down the middle of the fairway, but this one might end up in that right rough. But the biggest issue is there threat if one of those gold marbles come out? And if I hit a yellow marble, and that's my range of error, and it brings in the hazard to the right, I might sit here and go, this feels threatening to me. I do feel nervous. I do feel anxious. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we want to use that anxiety to then go to step 2, which is, could I make a different decision? So if I asked you to step up to this tee with your driver...
let's do that. Let's do that. Do I feel threatened? Yes, I do!
All right, so what would you do there if you grabbed driver?
I would give you my driver right away.
Can't agree more.
So now it's between the hybrid and the 3-wood for me because I've taken the driver out of the way. Now the tough thing is I need enough carry here, so I'm not sure I can use the hybrid. So by process of elimination, now I've got to give you the hybrid. So I'm left with the 3-wood because I've still got to carry the, you know, all that stuff out in front of me. So let me see if I can try one here.
And
just
one last tip, if I could throw it in, Martin.
Yeah.
The last step in this is now focus on opportunity. So now you want to look for that black marble. You've already taken risk out through the club selection. So now hit a black marble with a good club.
Well, we will try and hit a black marble for you, my friend, Dr. Rick. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see if we can get it in the shortish grass, at least able to hit it again. Oh, and I think the Ryder Cup going to be in trouble for the Europeans. I didn't do very well, but the thing is there, and I mean, this is live television, the thing is there, that was one of those marbles you can't predict, even though I made a good decision, so I can't be too upset about that, can I?
Sometimes we hit a yellow marble with the correct club, and the issue is, can you now let it go? Put it back in the jar, move up there, take your drop, and continue on.